So let's start with data types. Data types is particular type of data item as defined by the values it can take or the operations that can be performed on it. In C++, there are different types of data items supported. The first one is, let's say, numeric value. Numeric value can have a decimal point, can be without decimal point or with decimal point. Now, when it has a decimal point, then when it is just a without decimal point, just a whole number, then we call it an integer. And in C++, we denote integer as int, this int. When the numerical number has a decimal point, then we call it a floating point number or float. In C++ context, in the programming, we denote it as float keyword, F-L-O-A-T. Then if it is a single character, then in the C++ program, we call it char, that is char. And if we want to denote it as a full text, then in the C++, you have the data type available as string. And other than that, there is it is possible to have the data like in the form of like only true, false, or yes, no, or 0, 1, on, off, something like that. When it is like that, then we call it Boolean, and in C++ program we denote it as bool. So these are all the primitive type of data that are available in C++. That is integer, whole number, a floating point number or float, character, char, text, string, boolean, bool. Now let us understand what is an identifier. Identifier is a memory location inside the computer which is given a name for its identification. That memory location can store one single data item. So now these data item can be stored in two different ways. In the form of a variable. When it is called variable, that is when the value inside that memory location or under that name can be changed in the context of the program. Then it is called a variable. And constant is also similar concept, but the value of that named memory location cannot be changed. Now, once we know about the data type and the concept of identifier, now it will be very easy to write to use these data type and identifier together in C++ program. So here in this slide, you can see several data types and the identifier defined in C++ program. So the general syntax is, first you have to specify the data type, followed by the identifier name, and then after an equal symbol there is an optional initial value. So this is the general syntax, and if you see everywhere it is same. That is first the type of the data, that is the data type, then an identifier name followed by an initial value. So everywhere in all the example here and here we have seen the same similar structure, similar syntax. And when it comes to constant, that is you cannot change the value for some global constant value like pi, gravity, or something like that, then you have to use this const keyword before this data type name. And the identifier name, you have to use const keyword. Everything else is same, but you have to use this const keyword every if you want that these values should not be changed anywhere in the program. So in the next video, we are going to see some example for clarification.